unacceptable. I asked Minister Christopher Tufton and Minister Matthew Samuda to visit the quarantine facilities today to get a first-hand view of the situation. Arising from the visits, the government has already taken some remedial actions, and we will do everything we can to completely rectify the situation. A preliminary assessment has revealed that the situation arose from capacity issues and unforeseen circumstances such as weather and a power outage. This against a background of heightened panic and stigma. We have made much progress on several aspects of the controlled re-entry program. The application and approval process is fully managed online through the Jam COVID-19 platform, either on the website or via the iOS or Android app. We have streamlined the process at the airport, with the processing time cut by half compared to the previous cohort that arrived on Wednesday last week. Many persons, spanning several ministries and agencies, have worked tirelessly to get our citizens home. It is extremely unfortunate that this situation has dampened the happiness that our citizens would have had upon returning home to Jamaica. The government is very sympathetic to the plight of overseas Jamaicans who wish to return home, many of whom are under severe hardship. As a result, the government has gone above and beyond to facilitate the return of our Jamaicans. This has stretched the capacity of our public health system and our frontline workers. The reality is that we now have over 600 persons in quarantine and isolation facilities to manage. We also have 4 quarantine areas in St. Mary and many other active contact tracing exercises ongoing. This while conducting all the other public health duties. While we are working assiduously to bring home our citizens, it is clear we cannot continue to overextend ourselves, as this increases the risk both to the general public health and our returning Jamaican citizens. We have to work within our capacity while we seek to build additional capacity. We are now beyond our quarantine capacity. It will therefore be at least 14 days before we are able to accommodate any sizable additional cohort. I have directed the ministries and agencies involved to use this period to explore ways of rapidly scaling up our capacity, both in accommodations and logistics, to ensure a positive experience for all. Over 8,000 Jamaicans have already applied to return home through the Jam COVID-19 system. To accommodate this number, utilizing state quarantine would mean an inordinate delay in their return. The government is already working towards the development of a home quarantine solution, incorporating technology that will facilitate the geofencing and monitoring of persons re-entering Jamaica to ensure that they stay in their designated quarantine area. We continue to manage this process in a manner that keeps all Jamaicans safe. We again thank you for your patience and understanding, and I wish to assure Jamaicans overseas who wish to return home that your government is working assiduously to get you back home as soon as possible. And again, for those Jamaicans in quarantine, we know it is...
Everyone, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, there is this video about the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, apologizing to the US government and to Canadian government. Now, it has gone viral because this is what our leaders have been doing. Apologizing to these Western countries. But in our own countries, we suffer so many things. They never focus on that. They only focus on the things that maybe could drain their good relationship with the West. So let's watch this video, then have a quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
A difficult time. We know it is a psychologically stressful time. We will therefore redouble our efforts to ensure that you have a satisfactory experience as you transition safely from quarantine to your homes. Information to people where they are and in the forms they use.
And also it shows that our party leader is on the ground, suffering the same pressures that the average Jamaicans have. In terms of going to a gas station, don't know which one have good or bad gas. And has purchased bad gas.
Can you imagine? On that instance, I was about to take my wife to church in our constituency. We didn't intend to film the car. It was an intention of filming me taking my wife to church, what would be our day like in the constituency, that kind of thing. What role would I be playing there? And it so happens that when we went into the car, it wouldn't start. and that became the story rather than me taking my wife to church. Because she was saying to me, hurry, hurry. And I'm pressing the button and the car wouldn't start. We took the car to a mechanic who recommended that we get a particular treatment and booster cleaner and a particular treatment. And then we went to the Healing Nation on Wednesday. We went to the Healing Nation convention at the arena. Car was driving perfectly fine then. But when we hit the highway, it just lost power until it shut down. I thought we drove out the first one and we refilled at a different station. And apparently another bout of biogas. But you see, I think what has happened is that my view, I don't know, I'm just speculating. I suspect that it has so clogged the injectors.
You need to change the injectors.
That right now it is now in the garage being I don't know what has happened. Tomorrow I'll get the full diagnosis from the mechanic, but I suspect that between engine and injectors that I will have a serious repair bill.
And therefore when he speaks to the issue of bad gas, from first-hand experience.
People who make that kind of criticism don't understand media. You use all the forms of communication, and it's my job. My job is to bring to the public the political understanding of issues. I get a sense from Jamaicans that they like that there are some Jamaicans who want to make excuses for government failure. This is an ultimate failure of the government. It's a political issue. Make no mistake about it. From our perspective, the law gives the minister a duty to supervise, oversee, and regulate the petroleum industry. There is a failure in that. So I am not apologizing to anyone who thinks that in doing my job I'm politicizing. Of course, it is a political matter. And, one must also make the point. As it was in healthcare, we too face certain crises. We too face threats. But the Jamaica Labour Party political administration of the government did not have the results as the PNP had with Chick V and other threats and dead babies. Why is it that these things happen under the PNP administration and not under the Jamaica Labour Party administration? Because it's a different political administration. We have two different political views on how things should be managed.
The little things that makes a difference.
Yes.
When you clean the drains.
So I'm not going to make any apology or give any succor to those people who would want to see the Labour Party keep quiet on important issues, political though they may be, but they do impact upon the quality of life that people live.
Now, it is always bad to see them showing sympathies and empathy to the citizens of these countries that they are puppets to. Now, the Prime Minister came out and showed the sympathies to the citizens of US and Canada, but the same Prime Minister is always on the law when told to show sympathy to a tragedy or to something that when it happens to the citizens of Jamaica. Now, it is not only him that has always done this. We've always seen our leaders, the puppet leaders, always expressing responsibility and expressing their grievances and empathy and sympathies in whatever situations happen in these foreign countries. But they are always maybe not on time to express the same things when it happens to the citizens of the countries they claim they are leading. Now, things have happened, we know, in Africa, in the diaspora, in the Caribbean, all over the world. But for instance, now I'm gonna talk about the Trump shooting. Now, the attempt assassination on Trump's life that happened 2 weeks ago. We saw all leaders of this world, including African leaders, black leaders in the Caribbean, now went ahead to show sympathy and empathy. They went on the social media platforms, maybe to leave a note how they regrettably saw it and how bad that should never happen. But things happen in their country, right? They never talk about it. How many people die in their countries? Police brutality in their countries. No one ever addresses this. But when it comes to USA and these big countries, it is always their concern in whatever happens in those countries. And you might not know the reason, but the reason is simple. They are always concerned because they are puppets to this country. What happens when your leaders, those that give you money, those that give you instructions to do this, do that, are not in good terms or they are falling apart? What do? You simply go ahead and show your empathy and sympathy. That's whatever has always happened. But do you know the price they always receive at the end? Now, the price they always receive at the end is one, discrimination. And they've always been nagged and dragged down by these Western policies. Now, just an example of this. Now, if we talk about being nagged and dragged down, now in Kenya, our president William Ruto has always been known to be a Western advocate, and he always stands for the Western policies. Now, they gave him some finance bill to come and pass in Kenya. The whole country rejected it, said no. But he went ahead, he was tone deaf, went ahead and said that it will be passed without even removing a comma or a full stop. Now, the people went out, many people died, of which he has never talked about. He has never expressed empathy. He has always come out to say how the police did their work so well. About 70 people died and 600 are in hospital nursing gunshot wounds. He has never addressed that. He has never visited a victim, a single victim of that incident that happened a month ago and which continues happening every Tuesday in Kenya. Now, the Western will always drag you down. Now, just recently, Blinken, the United Secretariat, the Secretary General of the United States of America, called and gave a stern warning to William Ruto to stop killing and brutalizing the youths and the people who are going on the streets. This only says that they are no longer supporting him, because just a month ago, 2 months ago, he was in the US dining with the president and the government officials. What happened? They will always drag you down when the policies are rejected by the people and it seems like they are on the edge and they are falling out. They will always look for an scapegoat, and in this case, the puppets are always the scapegoat. We, the people, should always choose leaders with much wisdom. I had a narrative that our leaders are being chosen by the West. I do not know if it's true. I have no evidence to show on that, but however much they are being chosen by the West, let's try in our massive numbers and elect leaders who will serve to the full interest of the people. Because if the policies they bring about in our countries fail, now our economy will drain so much and the swamp will be contaminated, and what happens after that? Our lives are messed up. So let's focus, let's rise up, good people. It's always been about them. So let's change these narratives in our countries, in the Caribbean, in Africa, and in South America. that the narrative should always be about the people. They are the few minority. We are the major. We are the majority. So let's do it work. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. I appreciate so much.